With the recent release of Revelation Online's closed beta Phase 1 in the West, there have been a crap ton of issues, complaints, and enticing moments. Now I want to, more or less, tour what Revelation has to offer for those who may be on the fence of whether or not you want to buy the game to take part in the closed beta, or even try it out if you have found yourself a beta key through some other means. That means everything good, everything bad, as well as all the disappointing features. This will by no means be a review, and remember that all of the bugs and issues that we find are the reason for this beta. As much as I was frustrated with My.com's lack of effort with the translation throughout the game, it was not the only thing that really disappointed me. And rather than analyzing its issues, I do believe that some people will actually really enjoy this game, especially once My.com works its kinks out in the future. The first 20 or so levels are unfortunately pretty lackluster, where the questing is beyond simple. So simple, more often than not, it's just a quest to go talk to someone else or kill 2, 3, possibly 5 mobs. And I'm going to refrain from dissecting how good or bad the questing is due to the lack of effort I mentioned before on the localization of the first phase. Aside from the early level questing, it does start to pick up to the mid to late 20s where you can enter your first dungeon, which, you could probably have guessed it, is pretty generic and simple, but so are most early level dungeons and MMOs these days, unfortunately. Now, you may be wondering about its combat. Well, the combat is actually pretty clunky if I have to say so. It doesn't really flow all that well. I think if Revelation focused on having one specific type of combat, it would benefit a whole lot more instead of idolizing the 3 different combat styles that it does. And as a result of the disappointing combat, when I would duel other players, it felt pretty stagnant, and often it would just get dragged on for a very long time. I do though like the skill animations, but to me as a whole of the combat, it just feels really awkward. But that's not the only awkward thing that is within this game. Amongst the many other ones, the UI interface is awkwardly terrible, really bad. There is way too much going on, especially because some of it's pretty unnecessary to the point where you're actually unsure of what some of the clickable icons are used for. Or, well, that was just me. But if you're like me, and you've been playing for several days or however long, you kind of still forget what some of them do. On top of that, there's way too many things popping up in the middle of the screen. For example, the trigger for the skill combos, the navigation help bar, and a separate help bar for skills and combos. In addition to that, the game's performance is also something that lacked due to the constant frame rate drops and flickering shadows and water effects that I was experiencing throughout the first phase. I know this is something that is sure to be optimized in the near future, and it also could have been due to the large capacity of players during the phase 1, but if you are someone with a lower end computer, this is something that you're going to want to look at because you may struggle, especially within the major cities throughout the game. Revelation Online's environments and landscapes are for the most part really beautiful and eye-catching. Where the major cities and hub-esque towns lack the eye candy due to them being pretty bland, the environments are really exuberant. Gazing over the distance from a cliff or a mountain presumes this beautiful sight, and honestly, I was really surprised with how beautiful the game presented itself. Not only was I very surprised with the environments, but I was also really intrigued with the movement that was in game. Between the flying, sprinting, jumping, and gliding, it was fun to reach areas when you not even think you could possibly get to. Although I do think it needs some smoothing out, the movement plays a really cool aspect, especially in the future for when PvP and sieging will drop. Revelation Online is, like I said, a pretty generic MMO. Although I didn't enjoy my initial time in Revelation, I am not holding my current views permanently, because I do plan on playing each phase to provide further feedback and see how much improvement will be done in the future. As I mentioned, I'm sure a lot of people will actually really enjoy Revelation Online, and for some it may even become a primary game once it's released. But, you know, take what I said with a grain of salt, because as far as mechanics and in-game systems, there still needs to be a lot done aside from the localizing. With My.com behind Revelation Online, It seems to scare most players because of their past history, and although I don't want to judge them by their past mistakes or doubt that they can do a good job, I'm going to remain skeptic of whether or not it's going to end up being pay to win. As for its future, like I said, there's multiple mechanics and systems that do need to be worked on. And as far as its future, well, of course, once the phases start to come out more and more, we're going to see improvements. You're going to see level increases where you're going to be able to try out the higher level stuff and such like that. But as far as the mechanics and the systems, well, that's up in the air. We'll see how those get worked out. Let me know what you guys think of Revelation Online so far. Are you guys enjoying it? Are the bugs too much for you? Are you just waiting until the game actually goes into soft release with the open beta? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, let me know how I can improve. I would always love some feedback to make my videos better. Would you like to see videos in this type of format? Maybe, maybe not. Let me know in the comment section below. And that's going to do it for me, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.